Logical dependencies for master data information is a way of determining data that relate to each other, so you can only select some data once you have selected other data. So for instance, if we take a look at one of our items, we enter the master data specification. If we have no logical dependencies added for an information code, like in this example, my material, and I drill down my aluminium, I can see a list of the different materials, and I can see in the header it's called an information value list. So by the name information value list, I know we have no logical dependencies defined for this one. If I look at my tire type, it says logical information value list. So the logical information means that we have some dependencies. Again, if I look at my inch on the wheel diameter, it says only information value list. So the point will be that I can make filters. Let's take an example. If I delete the 7-gear bike, or the 7 gear on this one, I know now, due to my logical dependencies, that I can select between all the different bikes up here. So even though it says logical dependencies, I know due to my setup that I can select all my bike types. Whereas if I select the gear to be a 7-gear bike, and by the way, this is determined by some logical dependencies, so right now I only have 4 to select from. If I, on the other hand, delete my bike type up here, and I look at my gear now, I can see that I have more than 4 to select from. Let's say that we select the 7-gear bike down here. Now I know that I can only select bikes that fulfill those logical dependencies, which is in this case 2 bikes. On the other hand, if I try to add it so it works both ways, you don't have to select one of them before the other one. So if I select the bike type and I say this one is a mountain bike, and I'm looking into my gear down here, I would expect only to select from 2 different gear. So this is also a setup made if we drill down into the information code and we look at one of the information codes in here. We can view what we call logical dependencies, and for gear we have some logical dependencies saying if the gear is next to 7 gear, the bike type can be city bike or colibri, whereas if the gear is Jaguar 20 or 21, the bike type has to be mountain bike. As you can see here, we'll get back to the setup in another video. But there's a setup behind the scene, and once you add logical dependencies, the system will know when you do the lookup on information value that it's a logical dependency, and you can add filters this way.